I've been sitting here for probably like the past hour and a half, maybe even 2 hours now, just making videos back to back. And if you happen to be watching this, thanks. And I would say I'm sorry, but I mean, I know the production quality of my videos isn't the greatest. um, and I'm having fun. That's what I'm doing. And even as I'm sitting there, I'm thinking about, oh, I know I wanted to make videos on this, some headphones, some different Android devices, my thoughts and opinions on Macs. I hate the iPhone so much that it literally, like just 3.5 minutes ago, crossed my mind that maybe I should do a long-term review of the iPhone 15, like Apple's newest phone that I have now had for 3 months, I think. I think I got it in, so maybe let's say 2.5 months maybe. I don't know. I think I got it in October. I really don't remember. But yeah, I hate the phone so much that the flagship device that gets the most views, from the company gets the most views on you. I didn't even think to make a video about that because I don't like it, but I should. As an iPhone 15 user, it's fine. That's it. That's all I can say. An iPhone is an iPhone. I've always said that. I will say the little dynamic island is cool, but as a person who has a completely black background, it really does just fade away. It's not as good as Apple would say that it is, because it does some stuff and you're just like, huh, that doesn't make any sense. Like right now, I'm like, yeah, I just, I'm changing it from silent to ring. And I feel like if I do that and I tap it, it should take me to settings. And that way I can now adjust some things. Like I should be able to easily turn off vibration or something. But yeah, like why does that not open anything? But if I'm on a phone call or playing music or setting a timer, then that allows me to go into an app or whatever. So yeah, it's not as consistent as it should be. And for third party stuff, I'm like, cool. And for the most part, I don't know what other issues I might have with it, but that is a problem that I'm like, hey, I should be able to go into the settings and change it. If it responds to something, tapping it should also always do something. It's always like not something. No, it might be something stupid, but it should. If it responds, if it expands, either horizontally or vertically, and you tap it, it should do something. So that is a gripe. I'm just like, all right, whatever. And I made a whole nother video about how stupid the mute switch is on the iPhone, but it's what the iPhone is. As you can see, I have literally nothing on the home screen except for these two apps down at the bottom, and I'm sorry that it's not focusing, but it's the phone and messages. That's the only reason I use this phone, and I have to use the phone app because it's a phone, and my primary phone number is associated with the phone, but I only have the phone because of iMessage, which of course is the other app down there. That's it. I bought it because I started using iMessage again. I had purchased an $80 SE second generation, and I was like, all right, I'm fine having two phones on the daily. And I said, okay, now it's time to think, do I want to just keep using this phone because I'm literally only using it for iMessage and phone calls? However, when charging it, and this is a problem that most of us have, but also a problem that isn't the hardest thing I even think about on a daily basis, when charging it, it still uses the Lightning connector. And I just don't like having to use it. Plus, I've gotten to the point now where that 4.7-inch screen or whatever it is too small. And I found myself not wanting to interact with the phone at all because the screen was too small. And, I would always say, well, yeah, people send me messages and I'll just open my Mac and I'll respond to messages that way. I really don't use the phone to browse the web or do anything else. So it really wasn't that big of a deal. But it did get to the point where I was interacting with people enough when I was out of the house. And I would just sometimes say, I'm not responding to that message until I get back home. And sometimes it could be 10 minutes. Other times it could be a couple of hours. And I said, all right, that's kind of problematic. So let me get a bigger phone, a bigger iPhone. But I'm only going to upgrade to an iPhone that has USB-C. So I have to get the iPhone 15. But And there's another caveat. I still wanted a physical SIM slot. So I needed to get a phone that wasn't made for this country. And fortunately, on eBay, you can find the international version of the iPhone. Found one, it does everything I needed to do, and that's it. It's an iPhone. Go watch somebody else's review of the iPhone. And that's it. Yeah, it's an iPhone. I will say, and now that we're, wow, 5 minutes just to say that, I did recently watch John Prosser's front page tech documentary on Tim Cook, and it was pretty good. I liked it. I do think that there are a lot of things that I find John funny, hilarious, whatever, and there are sometimes I'm just like, I don't really agree with what he's saying. As you know, other people too, and I continue to watch because dude is funny, and when it comes to tech news, it's interesting stuff. But now, just kind of pivoting to kind of what he said, and then also just Apple in general. It was really more of a, all right, this is Apple after Steve Jobs. And yeah, clearly Tim Cook is doing right by the company. I mean, he's taking it to become a $3 trillion company. He knows what he's doing. Business, business, business. That's what Tim Cook does, whereas Steve Jobs was a visionary. And I don't think Tim Cook cares about the products. No, we know he doesn't. I'm just almost saying, I don't think Tim Cook even really cares about the products. He just knows that people buy them. So he will do whatever he can to sell as many of them as efficiently as possible. The two main things that, were really showcased in the little documentary are, well, what devices have come out since Tim Cook has been at the helm. And of course we have the Apple Watch, AirPods, and then of course the Vision Pro will be coming out later this year. And while I will say the Apple Watch is a good device, I've had 3 of them. Yeah, I bought one and then didn't like it, so I think I sold it. I might have returned it. I don't know. That the very first one, but the second 2 that I got, or the next 2, my brother gave me one because he got one. And he didn't like it, so I used it for a little bit. And then I got a second one, and this is just how my mind works is, all right, this, if I had an Apple Watch, this is my fitness device. It gets sweaty all the time. I don't want this on me all the time while I'm not working out. So I bought a second Apple Watch, one that I use really for working out. And yeah, it was gross. And you wipe it off or whatever. But that's just how my mind works. That's why I have a gym phone that I use. The headphones that I use, I only use at the gym. Like that, you clean them or whatever. But yeah, I don't want this iPhone 15 always covered in sweat because it's in my hands or in my pocket or whatever. So same thing with my accessories. Same things with my headphones. But yeah, I ended up, and this is alluding to, kind of what John was talking about, is I got rid of my Apple Watches because I got rid of my iPhone. And then, from his perspective, which I guess the research shows that a lot of people buy iPhones because they want the Apple Watch. So it's kind of the same thing where it's like, well, I want an Apple Watch, and the only way to get the Apple Watch is to get the iPhone. So I guess I'll get an iPhone so I can have the watch. And for me, it was, well, I would continue using the watch, but I'm no longer using the phone. And I can't anymore. And from a consumer standpoint and from a ingenuity standpoint, the hardware is great. Yeah, like I can't knock the hardware. I mean, Apple's in court right now, I think, and they are frequently, but with Maximo or something about some of the sensors on the watch. But whatever. But yeah, the hardware's there. But I will forever say, whether it's iOS or watchOS, and iPadOS, I guess, and even though tvOS is very similar, I don't really care about it in that form. The operating system software implementation is just terrible. And with the Apple Watch, I know it's a small little screen, so there's only so much you can do. But for me, it stops at the fact that I can only use this with an iPhone. That right there already tells me that what you have isn't that great. I mean, it's good. Yeah, it can be good, but it isn't that great. And then, of course, you'll go on to say, well, the Apple Watch is the most popular watch, of all time now or whatever. Sure, it is. And that's a result of there only being two mobile operating systems. And if the Apple Watch came out when the first iPhone came out, the Apple Watch would have failed because not enough people would have bought them. Like, it would have been just a thing that Apple, like a little pet project. But once you have that market domination, again, because there's only two options, regardless of how much it's grown in this country and even around the world, I think it's at it's over 50% here in this country, market saturation or market adoption in this country. And I think it's around 30% in the world. Yeah, you're going to be, and you lock it down to only your device. And hardware wise, it's a good thing. Yeah, it's going to work. It's fine. Like, yeah, it's a good product. But it's a business decision, and the business, Apple as a business clearly is successful. Apple as a hardware company, I really like, and I think they're really good at what they do. Apple as a software company, I'm like, I don't think they're that good, but you have iMessage, which you can only get iMessage, the individual app, when you're running an Apple operating system, and that Apple operating system is now on the Apple hardware. So by default, it's like, well, I want that one thing, but that one thing is only available, if I get this whole package. And yeah, you end up with, iOS sucks, but iMessage is acceptable and it's nothing special about it. It's just because the iPhone is so popular, again, because there's only two choices, and I'm saying, there's one finger, there's only two choices. Lock-in is real. So the Apple Watch is another form of lock-in. And that's it. Yeah. So is it that good of a product? Yeah, it's fine. And yeah, I was listening to the Vergecast yesterday. And for those of us who, you can see it. Nilay, I believe, was talking about the fact that he just bought a new Apple Watch for his wife. And he was like, yeah, the Series 9 is indistinguishable from the last several watches. Yes, because the hardware is where it is now. The software isn't really changing too much. And it is what it is. So yeah, they're nothing groundbreaking about what they're doing, but their implementation is what it is. That there are people who want the watch, but they can't get the watch unless they get the phone. So now phone sales have gone up, and yeah, they bought the watch. I probably, like I said, would have most likely kept the watch if I could have continued using it on my Android device. But yeah, and that's one of the things John Prosser was saying is that, yeah, iPhone sales have gone up because people want the watch. So they are boosting each other. The other thing that came out while Tim Cook was in charge of things were AirPods. But AirPods were only successful, and I don't say only, but they were as successful as they were because Apple removed the headphone jack. And that's it. Like, we don't need to go into depths about that, but people were still actively using the headphone jack. And Apple took it away. And that's it. And of course, they will say courage, is the reason they took it away. And I'm happy that I knew it, but I wasn't thinking about it. Mr. Who's the Boss recently released one of his shorts, and he was talking about, I guess, one of Apple's thinnest products. And I think it was the last iPod Nano was, I think, Apple's thinnest device ever. But even as thin as it still had a headphone jack on it. And that goes to say that the iPhone 7 could have had a headphone jack on it. But it didn't. Whatever. And I know the shape of the iPhone 7 was a little different. It was, rounded on the side, so things might not have fit exactly how you would want them to, whatever. But they're very smart people at Apple, and they could have engineered something to keep the headphone jack around. And again, another not technological marvel, but a business decision is we're going to release these AirPods. However, Chief Technology Officer, and I'm the CEO, I'm Tim Cook, we need to incentivize our customers to buy them. Remove any obstacles that are there that would prevent them from wanting to buy these headphones. Oh, we'll take away the primary way that they interact with the phone in terms of listening to music, talking on the phone. We'll remove it. And now, boom, now we got AirPods. So, not taking away from what AirPods are, but yeah, the business decision was we are going to get rid of the alternative within our own ecosystem. And the alternative was the headphone jack. Yes, I know you could plug the lightning headphones into the phone. I know for the 7 and I think some of the iPhone 8 sales, they were selling the dongle. It's all about convenience and ease. Dongles get lost and misplaced. You gotta buy new ones if your phone even came with one. And then yeah, I'm not going to say Bluetooth isn't bad. I mean, I use it all the time. I just did a video about my Bluetooth headphones. Use it all the time. But when it comes to the truly wireless stuff, yeah, I am not a huge fan of any of that stuff because when you take it out of your ear, what are you supposed to do? Whether it's an AirPod or a Google Pixel Bud or a Samsung Galaxy Bud, you take it out of your ear, what are you supposed to do with it now? And that right there for me is the limiting factor of I don't feel like dealing with this anymore because when I had my Pixel Buds, that's what I would always do. I would say, it's out of my ear. I got to immediately put it in my case. That was issue number 1. And then issue number 2 is I take it out of my ear, put it in my case, and yeah, now I got to charge it. It's another thing that I have to charge. And I just got tired of that. It's flat I got tired of it. And the last thing for me, which is more of a recent issue, which it's not an issue because I no longer use the truly wireless buds, even though some of them would mitigate this issue, is because I carry 2 phones with me at almost all times, sometimes I need to go back and forth between the devices. And yes, I know there are Bluetooth devices that allow you to connect 2 devices to it at the same time, seamlessly switch. I think my Pixel Buds might do that. I don't know, but does that work with all Bluetooth? I don't know because I don't use them because of the first 2 issues. But it was easier for me to just take a wire and say, all right, I'm talking on the phone now on my iPhone. Oh, I'm someplace where I want to watch some YouTube videos. I just unplug it and plug it into my Android device. And that's it, So it was easier for me that particular way. So this video was about the iPhone 15. And it was so short. I was just, yeah, let me just talk about something else. We're almost 20 minutes in. And overall, the iPhone 15 is fine. And the Apple Watch is fine. It's just another version of lock-in. Same thing with AirPods, even though there are, plenty of competitors to AirPods. But iMessage and the watch are definitely lock-ins. AirPods are just an accessory to the ecosystem that you are now locked in. And that's it. It's the it's the no-brainer purchase of, oh, I talk on the phone because this is a phone. Oh, I listen to music. So I will buy the branded product that makes the most sense. And with the Apple Watch, yes, you can buy other smartwatches and fitness trackers, but they're just not as good. I mean, it depends on what you want to do, but I say even though I don't have an Apple Watch anymore, holistically speaking, if you want the best overall experience and you own an iPhone, buy an Apple Watch. And even with other smartwatches, I had a Galaxy Watch for a little bit. I used my Fitbit. They're fine. I'll still say they're not as good as the Apple Watch. And as I said before, if I could have used the Apple Watch with an Android device, yeah, I would still be using my Android device without a problem. So with that being said, I'm going to wrap it up. I probably should have cut this in half, but it is what it is. And I'll maybe even make 2 videos out of this.